Good afternoon, good morning, or wherever we are. It's lovely to be back here again. This time it's lesson 10. So, and lesson 10 is the most valuable person. The leader is the most valuable person. A leader is a person who has people following them because they want to. And that is a quote by Larry Wilson. So, how many people in corporate do you actually know that anybody actually follows them because they want to be followed, because they want to? Or do they follow because literally they're doing it because they have to? Wouldn't it be great? I mean, that's what's absolutely wonderful about network marketing companies, because whenever people are following a leader, they've chosen that leader and they've chosen to be with them. And that's just the best atmosphere that anybody can actually have. So last week, remember, we actually talked about lesson 9, which was the magic word. And the attitude is, that was a deeper lesson than I ever, really thought about. And remember, it's about your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Now, one of the things that I had learned was about, you can have a positive mental attitude. There's nothing that you could pull away from me that somebody would say that Sheena is the most positive person that you ever will find. But you can still come from a place of lack. And when I heard one of the closest of Bob's sales team say that, I just thought, oh my goodness, that hit the nail on the head. You can also come from fear. I mean, lack is actually fear anyway. So what's the back of lack is really, it's coming from fear that you don't have enough. And then you can actually set your actions in place with that, but still with a positive mental attitude. So here's where my attitude is that, I would never dream of saying to anybody else what I have said to myself for 49 years. I'm now 50. I'm getting better. But what I've also learned is that with this work, be careful that, sometimes we think, and I've heard it was brilliant, whenever you think of something and then you go and you search for the information, you do find it. Michael Beckwith, because I had this thought, oh, that's it. Do you know what? I'm just going to crawl back into my paradigm, because then I can just put the covers over my head and stop hearing all this negativity that I didn't know was going on again. And because what happens is it was so quiet to begin with, but you were blaming outside people. So it was easy. You didn't see it in yourself. And then you were able to blame the world or look at other people and go, well, it's them. It's not me. I'm not like that. But then when you realize and you stop doing that and you look into yourself, and nothing that's happening outside is by accident. It's showing you. If you're reacting, it's showing you. And those lessons get louder and louder and louder. And here's the thing, is that we can't go back. It's about not ignoring that sound and to just keep doing the work going forward. Now, certainly for me, it's about having those go-to statements in your head that when your emotional body starts to kick off, because it will, that you use your conscious mind to literally say a certain phrase over and over and over again. And I'll tell you my certain phrase at this moment, because it changes every time, is basically, I forgive you, I love you. Think of the word forgive. Forgive. Yeah, when you split it up, it's forgiving. And that's what we're here for on this planet. We're forgiving to other people. And the first place we need to forgive to is ourselves. Yeah. So just remember, a positive mental attitude isn't the be all and end all. It's where are you coming from behind that as well. So that was my biggest thing. So, as we look at where we've come from, lesson 2 was really all about our knowing doing gap, and all the work we've done so far up to this point is to close that gap. Now, there's times when we literally close the gap immediately, and there's other times where we know exactly what we're doing. I spoke to a girl last night, and she wanted to be in an interview. And, she wanted the job, so she thought, but actually, as we had a conversation further on, there were lots of different things came out. And so her emotional body was actually just doing what she really wanted to do. But, so she knew how to get the job, But when she was in the interview, she didn't do it. Yeah. Something else was going on. Now, it's a paradigm. It could have been a paradigm, but actually, when we investigated it, it was, what did she truly desire? So there's two things in here going on in our knowing doing gap. So it could be, that, oh my goodness, what happened? What happened? I don't know. But actually, if you look at your thoughts and you go, well, if I'd have got the job, I didn't really want it anyway because it was this other person that I'd had to work with. And so actually, your body was just protecting you. It was giving you what you wanted. But then other times, as soon as we say, well, it was because of the panel, they were looking at me funny, and somebody else was looking down and he asked me this weird question, etc., etc. They're excuses and they're your paradigms. And, it's really setting forward. So the first one in that knowing doing gap is really all about your goals. Are your goals right? Is what you're going after what you really, really, really want? Or do you have an element of doubt at all? Any element of doubt is just not going to help you at all. Any element of doubt will stop it from happening. Okay, so then the excuses and our paradigms, this is all to do with our self-image. This is all to do with our beliefs and our behaviors. This is all to do with our attitude, just what I spoke about before. And the next lesson we're going to do is all about leadership and leaving people with increase. It's all these things in here that we have as excuses, which are our paradigms. And if we just let them, if we keep doing the same thing, I mean, in the Toltecs are saying, that we should literally catch every thought. It seems hard work to begin with, but here's the thing, you're thinking anyway. You've got 60,000 thoughts every single day. What the heck was different yesterday? What the heck was different a year ago? What is going to be different tomorrow? Yeah, what is going to be different? Catch all those thoughts. And if you can't, what I do is whenever I feel like I'm stuck, if I'm not in a good place, that I just literally, I say, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And if you've never heard of that before, that's actually Ho'oponopono. You might want to check that out, but it is somewhere, because we're never just getting rid of the past. We're actually creating the future. Every single thought at a time, we are creating the future. And it's all about belief here. What do I believe I'm capable of doing? Okay. I love this quote because this just made me feel so good. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And that's just been my life, and that's the feedback I get, so that I do that in others, and I see that in others, and I just go, wow. Because sometimes you don't feel like a leader because it's just what you do. There's some good paradigms out there, which is great, and my paradigm has always been to just put a smile on people's face. And I learned that very early on in a role that literally it was a pharmaceutical sales role, and I just couldn't get sales. I couldn't even get in the flipping door. And I just thought something has to change here. And I thought, right, that's it. I'm just going to go around making everybody smile. And if that's all I do, and then I feel better as well then, because these days are just getting worse and worse and worse. So that's what I did. I just walked around making people smile. And let me tell you, that's whenever everything changed in that job. I enjoyed it. I got in to see the people, and yeah, so that's it. So if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you are a leader. So isn't that good? Now remember, who is the most valuable person? Here's a quote from Socrates: employ your time in improving yourself by other people's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. Isn't that just exactly what we're doing now with the Bob Proctor material? Do not underestimate the power behind Bob's words, because there's 60 years of evidence, 60 years of study that go into those 15-minute videos. So if you think, well, it's just 15 minutes, I've seen it, I've heard it, I've listened to it, maybe 10 times. It's, do not underestimate, you're missing the point. You don't need to speed through everything. The idea is to stop and study. Don't be multitasking. Literally sit there with your pen and write down and really listen, because sometimes you go off and you think of things in the middle of Bob's talking and then you come back down. So you might have actually missed something. You never miss anything though. But the next time around you'll hear it, but you'll be at a different level and you'll hear something different within yourself. And that's what we're doing. And I don't want to use the word trying, but that's what we're doing here. We're literally trying to get this beautiful person outside, that's inside, outside, and to know that that's who you are. So one of the biggest lessons that you're going to learn, and you're going to hear me say this, and it's probably going to go right over your head, but every single person that you come in contact with, every single situation, every single circumstance is teaching you about you. It is a mirror in the world. And if you look at it and you like it, that's great. If you look at it, you feel nothing, that's great. But if you look at it and you feel something negative, that is the world showing you that you've got something inside you. It is not the person outside you causing that frustration. It is you had the frustration inside you. First of all, you wanted to get rid of it. And whatever you're looking at, whether it's the cat, whether it's the dog, whether it's the car in front, it will find somewhere to land. Yeah. So you may not like hearing that, but that person said that and that person did that, and they annoyed me by this. I didn't ask them to do that. On a good day, you could probably look at them, and when you rise in vibration, you could probably look at them and all you'll hear is noise coming out of their mouth. And you will be totally unemotional about it. You'll be that, rather than being, you see, what happens is whenever we're at a lower level of vibration, we are completely polarized. We are going from negative to positive, and we are swinging back and forward. You see, whenever you start to rise in level awareness, think of it as like a triangle. And as you get further and further up, that polarity becomes less and less and less, and you stop that swinging from side to side. You never see Bob Proctor jumping up and down like it, like he's, I'm sure there's a song about that, you just don't see him do that. You see him just so balanced all the time. And Sandy, she has that beautiful little giggle, but she's not, all up there, but she's never down either. She's just in that space, that just beautiful space, I think, that we all aspire to. And that's why we're attracted to people like that, because we just go, look at that peace. And that is the peace that this program will bring you. And that peace will help you. So basically, everything that you're seeing outside is to help you be a better person. And when you can look at that and stop trying to change the outside, it is all within, then you will start to see that difference. So absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Now, one of the things is that whenever you become a leader and you want to do something different, is that you can work and work and work on this, and then nothing happens, or well, it appears that nothing happens. So I'm going to read something from our Thinking into Results book, and it's on page 156. So it is not uncommon for the leader to experience great resistance, and even from their most great resistance, even from their most loyal followers. This frequently is because there may be not one speck of physical evidence indicating the leader is going in the right direction. You see, the true leader is being led from within. They have an understanding of the unseen aspect of life. Because of the continuing lack of evidence, they are being properly led. The resistance frequently grows. However, the effective leader is calm. They will not waver. They remain focused with total confidence. They know they are moving and leading in the right direction. Eventually, evidence does appear to the outside world, and the vision of the leader has held steadfast, manifest for all the world to see and enjoy. Wow. So never be disillusioned. It's about really shutting down the outside senses, and that's the work that we do in lesson 5, is learning that. But that is the core of everything, is shutting down those senses and to stop using the outside world and to look at those results and then to think from those results. Remember, it's top-down thinking, not bottom-up thinking. So where we tend to think of, something physical outside, Then we base our emotions on that something physical. Then that creates the thoughts, and we're off in a circle over and over and over again. The idea is that you create the idea and the thought. You then mix the emotions with the thought, which will then create the physical. How many times do we do it the other way around? So I want to watch and share this video. I'll just make this share the computer sign so that you can hear it. So enjoy this video from Les Brown. I think it's awesome.
They have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. And when they go through a process of growing it, they have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. Okay? But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show? People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. Because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look. Whoa, look here. Look how, hey, man, you know, I know you could do it. Look, you got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you're going to make payroll. During those times when you failed and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard.
There you go. What did you think of that? It's I absolutely love that. I mean, I was completely lost in that again this time. I don't know how many times I'm going to hear that, but I just absolutely lost that. And, you know, I've had recently where somebody said, you know, literally get real and stop living off, you know, someone else. And it was just like, when you really got to look at yourself and go, is that you can take somebody else's comments to you and actually take them seriously, or you can actually take that, you know, that it was them and it was nothing to do with you, or you can turn that round and look inside yourself and go, was I really thinking that myself as well? So it's a real honest thing. You know, if somebody has really said something harsh to you, stop and think, what have you been saying to yourself? Now, I remember just somebody, I'll not mention who, had an absolute go at me over a couple of years period. And you know what? It was like water off a duck's back. It really was, because there was nothing that she had said that I actually hadn't already said to myself. And I used to laugh. Like my daughter would go, why are you letting, and I says, well, it's not bothering me. It's bothering her. It's not bothering me in any shit. And I'd never had that form of hatred before, towards me. And so, but I knew that I was okay. I knew that there was nothing that I'd done. So it was just like it was all in her head. And so that's absolutely fine. There was nothing that she had, all the angst inside her, and it was bouncing right off me, completely bouncing right off me. So are you reacting, and or are you responding? There's another one as well, isn't it? Reacting or responding. The thing is that, when you react to the outside world, are you being a leader? If you go, well, let me just see how this meeting goes and I'll see how I'll be in the meeting. Or are you going, right, this is how I want the day to be. And this is how, if this comes up, I'll respond this way. If this comes up, I'll respond that way. If this objection comes up, well, I know what to say. Are you prepared? And then you go through the day. So if it happens that you've actually got an answer, or if something unexpected happens, do you just stop for like 10 seconds or 2 seconds and just breathe and ask, because I had this basically last week where it was to do with my daughter, and, my absolute heart wants to go out and protect my daughter, but there's a responsibility article in your Thinking into Results workbook. Read that and actually know what you're responsible for, okay? So you can either be part of the outside mess, or you can just stop, literally raise your head and go, I am more personally developed than this to then get involved in this argument. It is nothing to do with me. Let her sort it out herself. And that, what I realized then, was the real strength of character in doing that, because I had conflicting things of wanting to protect my daughter, yet allowing her and respecting her enough that she has the answer to do everything herself. And what sort of leader would I be that if I stepped in and then just acted like everybody else? I'm just not going to be. I would have just been on the positive end of the same polarity. Yeah. If I'd have opened my mouth, I just would have been on the positive end of the same awareness and same wavelength as them. And I closed my eyes and I chose to rise to the top. And that, after a glass of wine, let me tell you, was, because I just wanted to go. But no, I stopped. So that's about responding. And then the next day, was I ever so glad that I didn't do that? Because, it's about allowing other people that respect of allowing them to actually choose. They've got things to learn themselves. Absolutely. Even as children, we've got to allow children to be able to learn for themselves. And by us protecting them all the time is not helping them become their own leaders. There's times when you do step in because you have a responsibility to them. So it's, I'll move on from there. So the effective leader has a vision of where they're going and knows that they will get their people to buy into that vision. So how do you do this? For me, one of the biggest lessons was about knowing, liking, and trusting. So people will not follow you if they do not know, like, and trust you. Now, here's the thing. People cannot know, like, and trust you if you do not know, like, and trust yourself. Yes, I'm being very repetitive here, but let me tell you, get this one, because you think you know yourself, you think you like yourself, and you think you trust yourself. Well, if you do, that's absolutely amazing. But I thought that. And as I do this work more and more, and bear in mind, this is my 4th time going round Thinking into Results, and I realized that actually, even though I know who I am now, I am God's highest form of creation, the universe's highest form of creation. It's actually, who is Sheena? Who do I want to be? What story am I actually putting out there? What is my story? And do I like that story? Do I like me? Do I like I might like myself in my head, but what the heck is my emotional body saying? Yeah. What is your emotional body saying about you? Because that is the liking that's going on. And if there's not a great deal of knowing and liking, well, there certainly can't be any trust. You may trust yourself in your head, but does your emotional body trust you? These are two separate things going on. And only by doing the work over and over again do you start to feel the difference and really truly understand what is the difference between you knowing it in your head and your emotional body knowing it. They are two different things. So that's a really, really big thing to look at. Become an intelligent follower, become the best follower that you're capable of becoming. The person who isn't a good follower is never going to be an effective leader. So, Bob even says that sometimes he's a leader sometimes, and he's a follower at other times. So whenever he's doing the work with PGI, like he just wants somebody to tell him what to do, where to stand, everything else. He doesn't want to get involved in the company, things at all. And then he's a follower. But then when he's on stage, then he is a leader. And when he wants something to be changed and he wants to know where the company is going, he will lead that change. But then he'll become a follower because he'll have set in motion the people who will do that change for him. But he's leading the change. So do you see what I mean? And it's like, are you being a follower, or are you constantly just trying to lead without following anybody? Because let me tell you, you're just following the follower then. Yeah, if you keep looking at the masses, what everybody else is doing, or do you see somebody and just going, right, they know what they're talking about. I'm going to do everything he tells me to do. So even Phil Goldfine, he's a director, movie, film director, Broadway director. And he is just literally following whatever Bob tells him to do. He just keeps doing, thinking into results. Now, this is a multimillionaire guy who's got like successful films and Oscars and all those different awards. And he still does thinking into results every single day. He carries his gold card around with him every time, and he turns up to every event and he just does what Bob says. And sometimes even he says that he loses his belief in himself, and so he'll just borrow Bob's. But you can imagine then, so he's been a follower there with whatever Bob is telling him to do. But then when he's a director and sorting out his movies and he's leading the way, his goals and everything, he is a leader. But he's that great leader because he has become the best follower, first of all. So develop in your own mind and belief a deep respect for your leader. This will help you develop the awareness of the importance in earning that from your followers when you become a leader. So this is where, I really thought, wow, what is it that I respect Bob for? After all, that's who I'm following. What is it that I respect? Well, I need to have those qualities. I know that we can actually pick up maybe different qualities from different people, because there's certainly a person called Rita Davenport that I actually just had deja vu there. I have no idea why. I just thought I'd share that with you, but I have never done this in this house before. So, anyway, I just thought I'd share that. That just took me off center there for a bit. So this will help you develop, the awareness of the importance of earning that from my followers. So I would like people to look at me and think that, wow, you're calm and you know where you're going, and there's no fluff, and you just say it how it is. And that's the sort of person that I want to be, and I'd like people to say that about me. And when I thought about different things, I thought, actually, I think I'm already there. You can tell me otherwise. I don't know. It would be good maybe for a bit of feedback on that one. So organizations are always looking for great leadership for individuals who see themselves as a strong leader. And this is not ego leadership. Literally you can't spot that a mile off. Certainly from my experience of corporate culture, and certainly from the NHS, is that did anybody follow anybody because they wanted to or because they had to? Yeah. Do any leaders in the companies that you've worked for, do they really know what leadership is, or have they studied that in a book? Because when I did my master's and it was on the leadership bit, and even whenever well, I just didn't even understand it anyway. It was all like, I don't really get it. You know, what is a leader? What is a leader? But then we went into all the theory, and you sort of came out and didn't really understand. I mean, obviously I passed the exam, but I still didn't really understand what a great leadership was. And whenever I went to do some strengths leadership work with Manchester University, and it was seen as not on the curriculum to be leading from your strengths, that was new age stuff, and it wasn't really stuff for studying. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is what creates a leader, is helping people see their strengths and how great they are, and not correcting them and, you know, pointing them, you know, and do this because this is good for your leadership, this is good for you. You know, actually, that when you have people working from their strengths, that literally, you know, the energy rises, and when energy rises, more gets done. So a leader has a great attitude. A leader will automatically look for and find the good in others. And that's what we've said is literally, you know, about basically, you know, being a leader. And I've got here, read from page 163, and I'm going to have a little check on that. What have I written here? Read from page 163. Attitude. This is from the common denominator of success, really. And this is, you know, literally, whenever we talked about attitude before, it's really breaking it down to sort of the habits that you've got as well. And do you form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do? So many times, so this is actually coming from the common denominator of success, which is the article attached to this lesson by Albert Gray. And you see, what it's saying is that it's unnatural to be successful. It's unnatural. Most people are following the masses. So why do we try to follow our natural preferences when we're trying to grow? Yeah, think about it. We've got to follow unnatural processes to grow. Otherwise, we're just doing everything the same. So I've just realized what I'm going to be doing my next article on in my 5 a.m. book club, and it's going to be this, because this really is, you know, people say, you know, like, oh, I don't want to do that because it doesn't, I have a gut feeling, and it doesn't feel right. Well, no, of course it doesn't feel right, because it's actually going to take you out of your comfort zone. Now, I know that some of these lessons that I've gone, like I did last week, the attitude lesson, I was thinking, well, you know, what's the big deal about this attitude? Did I get an answer? Did I? You know, it just literally, what you try to avoid, or what you think, oh, I'm not going to go and do that, is actually what you need to go and study even further. So if you get some success and you think, well, I know it, as soon as you say that word, well, I know that, you know that is your trigger to go back and read it again, learn more about it, ask the question, spend the next week on it, not just the day, but the next week, and see what shows from the universe. You'll be led to different books. Somebody will say something, you'll watch a YouTube video, and you will get more information about that. So let me tell you, attitude is a really, really big thing. So successful people form the habits and do things that failures don't do. Leaders create an environment that brings out the good in others, which is why the leader is the person others want to follow. So I said before about, you know, polarization, and literally, I think I wonder if it's in this next one here. Okay. Yeah, so I did talk about polarization, didn't I? And it's like where I said about being positive and negative, and think of it as a triangle. So just to go back on that point, I'm going to show you about, this is the picture of the Shard. Now, the Shard is the tallest building in the UK, and it's like a bit of a triangle, can't you see? So if you were on the ground floor level here, you know, if you wanted to see what was going on at the front, then you would have to run to the front. And if you want to see what's going on at the back, then you have to go to the back. And you see, like, there's all these people here, they're all swarming around, and you're just in the middle of them. And if you want to see what's on the right, you have to go to the right. You want to see what's on the left. So and that takes time, doesn't it? You know, so you're swinging back and forward if you wanted to find out all the information. And then you'd probably ask all those people who are on the ground level as well, you know, what's this? What's this? I can't see this. Do you know this? Do you know this? And you're busy asking so many questions, and it's all busy. You know, even if you could get up to the 10th floor, which is this middle picture here, starts to be a little bit of space, but there's stuff in the way, isn't there? There's still stuff blocking the view. So this is where, and you're still a bit polarized because you still have to, as you can see here, there's still movement here that you've got to go back and forward to. So what about when you get to the top here? Right up here in this top picture here, you got a 360 view up there. You can see everything. It's lighter up there. Not many people go to the top or certainly spend time at the top. You might go there in your dreams, but as you're dealing with your day, you drop back down here and you deal with everything here. Then you do your visualization, you go back up here again. And here's the thing is you want to stay up here. This is where you want to be. So when you're thinking of your problems, where are you thinking from? Are you on the ground floor of the shard? Are you there with all the busy people asking everybody else's opinion, driving yourself mental? Or can you visualize yourself going to the top? You choose whatever building you want to go to the top of, that maybe you've been there before and you saw a beautiful vision of everything where you could just turn around more or less on the spot and see everything. And you can look down at the people down below and you can go, oh my God, look at them all. What's going on in their heads? Mental chatter, mental chatter, mental chatter, hurry, hurry, hurry. Yeah, that's all fear. Just stand up there. In fact, go to the tallest building and go and stand up there and just watch. And just watch how everybody is. And that's the place that you want to be making decisions from. Yeah. That's why you want to go high. That's where the vibration is. That's where your goal is. And that's where you want to be. And you can only lead from up there with a clear vision, not down here. You can do your research down here, but you don't want to be making decisions down here. Okay. And so when you're thinking about decisions and where you really need to be, so when you're at the top there, one of the things in the book called The Mastery of Love, and it was by the Toltecs, and they said that love is ruthless. The love that we have it's that we are used to in the physical world, and the physical realm is, a possessive kind of love. Love me, I'll love you if you do this for me. As soon as you do something that I don't like, well, that's it, I don't love you. It's even, with your children, you may not even like them sometimes, but you'll always love them. There's always that core there. But even still, that can be, we've done that with our children. We see other people doing it. If you do that, if you're going to be good, then I'll let you do this or whatever. And it's all this sort of trading. And isn't that what we've been more or less taught? You do that and this will happen. And so when you think of agape love, which is the love that's talked about in the Bible, it isn't soppy love. It isn't selfish. It isn't envious. It's not irritable. It's patient. It's kind. It's compassionate. But here's the thing. What is compassion? Not the compassion that somebody's in a pit and you get in the pit with them. That's not compassion. That's sympathy, And I loved this definition of compassion. And this is where, as a leader, to be here is, and because you've got to lead yourself first. Yeah. So you may think, well, I'm not a leader. I'm not going to lead anybody. But here you are. You're the star of your own show. You're the absolute star of your own show. You are the center of your own universe. That is science-led, because this universe is infinite. Therefore, wherever you are the center of it. But hey ho, so's somebody else. But whose movie are you starring in? Are you starring in somebody else's and getting kicked around? Or are you starring in your own movie and going, stand your ground? It doesn't have to be harsh standing. You just know standing. That, like, you've ordered a meal in a restaurant and you know it's coming and you're just there. And you're just sitting knowing it's coming. You don't get up and move, and you don't get up and try and grab and try and make the dinner, or you don't go out and leave. Or maybe, I don't know, it depends on the restaurant, not in the restaurants I go into. So compassion may be defined as thought without attachment to the outcome. How many times do we have our goal and we go, our goal's not there, our goal's not there, our goal's not there? And it really is that you know where you're going. So whenever you're in a car and in a sat-nav, you do not literally ask the sat-nav, are you going to London? Are you going to wherever it is that you're driving to? You don't constantly ask it questions. You just know you've programmed it in and it's going there. Sometimes you get detours. Sometimes it takes an extra 2 hours to get in your journey, sometimes even longer. But you've had the thought, you've made the decision, the outcome is happening, you are going there no matter what. So it's thought without, you can live your day to day without any attachment to the outcome. How's this now? Feeling without distortion. How many times do we get a feeling and then we ramp it up and we like distort it? So say somebody did something and then we blame them, so we start to distort the feeling inside ourselves. And actually it was just telling us, oh, you know, you've just sort of like, you're coming from fear here, you're not coming from love. There's only 2 tracks in this world, fear or love. There isn't anything else when you think about it. Jealousy, fear. Guilt, what's behind it? Fear. Shame, what's behind that? Fear. Because it's all coming from lack. Lack is just fear. Yeah, it was that your body just told you something. If it was a feeling that you didn't like, that you just go to love. Now, here's the other thing, is that you can go the other way as well. So you can distort a feeling going, oh my God, that was the best feeling in the world, and jump up and down, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Let me tell you, if you go really high, you're going to go really low, because the pendulum always is swinging. Okay. And, you know, you think, but I want to go high. You can go high, but go high in a centered way. Like you rise to the top of the shard and you, that high, that pure joy, that's centered. That's peace. The other is when you go too high and you go, oh, I don't want this feeling, like say you overly love somebody, you overly love a house, you overly love a car, you overly love the goal you've got. You're afraid of losing it. So you actually go into fear again. Yeah. But when you're centered and you're knowing and you're at the top of the shard, it's just like, yeah, I've got this. I've got this. This is pure joy. So the last one, emotion without charge. Yeah, that's charging up the emotion with too much positivity, charging it with too much negativity. So it's more or less the same thing, just a different way of actually saying it. So you remember energy in motion, you know, water, you know, doesn't have to punch holes in a rock to get through. It just knows it's going to get through eventually by the constant, you know, waves moving, and eventually it will make a hole and it will get through, and then that hole will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's energy in motion. So an effective leader understands who they are, takes control of their own life, and leads themselves in the direction they want to go. The effective leader knows how to give themselves a command and follow it. So that's the thing that we were just talking about there, about that compassion and about giving yourself a command and following it. Take the emotion out of it, just be centered and go, this is what's happening. You must have done that at different times in your life. Well, like, this is just what's happening, and that's it. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Okay. So the effective leader maintains a good attitude regardless of what's going on inside, you know, outside. You know, that is the true work, shutting off the senses, like I've said that before. You know, preset your responses, and that everything else just sort of comes in line. And one of it said, what it says in the Bible, it says, pray without ceasing. Now, prayer isn't, please let me have this. Prayer is actually, you've already asked the question. Your desire is in your stomach. It's already happened. Remember the MRI scan, that we've literally 6 seconds behind, you know, what our subconscious is saying. So it's already asked the question. Your desire, you felt it in your stomach. You don't actually need to even ask the question. Asking it is given. So it's already there. So what would you say whenever you've got it? You just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. How about walking around all day praying without ceasing, which is walking around going, thank you, thank you, thank you. Or a ho'oponopono, which is, I'm sorry, because we've always got something that we did, thought, or whatever. We actually never get away from our paradigms. We just get to manage them so much better. They do shift, you do pass them, but Bob says is that if you stop doing the work, wow, do they come back in just as fast. So leaders know where they're going, and although they have plans, they do not know how they're going to get there. And so this is the really funny one. This is the one that is I've actually just really read it now. So you do have plans, but actually stop trying to figure out every single last thing. And I drove myself, and I realized that whenever I used to be a medical rep, that my manager tried to get me to think too much about what was going on a call. I couldn't do the call. I literally would just lose it. He recognized that. He says, oh gosh, you just need to know, well, what's the first sentence and what's my outcome? And then the rest would happen itself in the middle, because I just felt so happy doing that. But if I thought about, well, what am I doing and how am I going to get there, and what am I going to say, and what's this person doing and how am I being, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I would drive myself crazy. So this is where you give yourself a command, and and just to trust. This is the know, liking, and trusting that your body's actually going to do it. But if you start questioning it and doubting it, that's not trust, is it? You can't 90% trust yourself. It's trust or no trust. Leaders understand that if a person is not prepared to do more than they're being paid for, they will never be paid for more than what we're doing. And you are going to pay for this as you go through thinking into results. You're going to do this work, and to begin with, maybe you don't get the results. Some people do get the results, but you are going to pay for your results in one way, and you're paying for it actually by doing thinking into results every single day. But here's the thing. This is the work for the rest of your life. If you want something different from this world than what 98% of people got, if you want it, this is you for life. This is not just thinking into results for 6 months. This is you for life. Does that scare you? Or do we just make it part of our habit that, even as I clean my teeth, it's just exactly the same as listening to Bob every single morning and evening, doing this work on ourselves. So leading, you are the most valuable person, and everything that is outside of you is showing you who you are. And when you get that, and you are 100%, 100% responsible for every single feeling you have, and it is nothing to do with anybody else, anything else outside of you. Nobody can, like the Viktor Frankl's book, when he was in the concentration camps, I can't remember, the name has just escaped me for now. He's, basically realized then that nobody could make him think something different. You imagine the atrocities that he saw during that time. I think it was 10 years. And the atrocities that he saw during that time, most people would go mad. But he held on to the thought of all his life outside, and what his purpose was, and how he was going to enjoy that time. And he knew then that nobody could make him think anything that he did not want to think. And that is the freedom, 100% responsibility. And that is what makes a leader, and what people want to follow you, because you're never criticizing anybody else ever. And people want to follow somebody like that. So that is the end of the lesson 10, that you are the most valuable person, and the work is all within you. So I would like to say, have a wonderful day. And yeah, that's it. See you soon. Bye.